first time moving to Seattle. I don't know anything about Seattle. I just know about the Space Needle and the Seattle Supersonics. I have no friends, no family. When my mom chose to move me here, it was with an old friend that's from China, my dad's friend. So I moved in with her, and I called her grandma and grandpa. So we lived right on Beacon Hill. So remember, some shit happened in Houston in 2003 to me. So I had to move. I actually drove with my dad and my uncle straight to Brooklyn to my cousin's house and try to restart a new life again. And I was fucked up in the head. But what happens is I get involved with some gang members. I didn't know they were part of gang members. I knew they were members of gangs, but I didn't know which gang. And I never looked at them like, yo, what gang are you? I just looked at them as street homies, and homeboys that I knew from back then. But I eventually bumped into a dealer, a Cambodian dealer by the name of Tony. He had tattoos all over him and shit, but he was fucking with me. And he was hella cool with me. Me being from Houston, I had a different type of swag. I had a hustle mentality, and I was hustling weed, and he liked fucking with me because I was hustling weed too, and he was a hustler. So we kicked it hard. And my mom noticed I was going home always high as hell, bloodshot eyes, and she kind of figured I was using a lot of my money on weed because I wasn't saving up a lot, but I was always hanging out late, come home smelling like bud. So she moved me to Seattle, 2003, 2004. Imagine that. She moved me to Seattle because I'm hanging out too much because I'm smoking weed. And then what happens in 2012? They legalized marijuana. But look, I don't know this is happening when I moved to Seattle. I didn't even know there was weed in Seattle. Like I said, I have no idea. I'm rapping, I'm screwing and chopping music. I'm coming here with a new, just new mentality. Same mentality, but a new environment. So I had to have a new mentality a little bit because it's like, yo, what am I supposed to bump into? And luckily, one of the neighbors of the place that I stayed at, he brought me to downtown one day. He was like, yo, we're going to go here and eat some sushi at Todai's. And it was a little game room called GameWorks, downtown Seattle. And we went over there to play games, played on the arcade. And he just showed me around. And then, so I was like, okay, this place seems like a cool place to go. I'm going to hop on the 36 bus. I didn't get a job yet. So I hopped on the 36 bus and I would go downtown and I would look for rappers. I'm like, man, is there anybody rapping? I'm looking for weed too. I'm like, who's smoking weed? Like, I'm just a loner. You know what I'm saying? Dolo. Straight up nomad up in that bitch. And it's crazy because I bumped into some dudes freestyling and his name was A-Sun and my boy Inky Biz. Then sooner or later I bumped into Raw Skills, Nicodemus, Keywan. I bumped into a lot of people. I started meeting lots of people from the streets. But at that time, when I first met them, I was just putting up $5 on the blunt. And I would walk with them, I would freestyle with them. They would go this way, that way, and I just mob with them all the time. I'm this new dude. And then I hear Inky Biz. He's talking about the hood, where he come from. And I'm thinking he's talking about here. And I'm like, man, this place looks nice in Seattle, downtown. And I'm like, this place looks spoiled compared, And then he's talking about the hood. So I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he started saying like A-Leaf or Houston or something. And I was like, what he just said? So he went to the same high school as me too, L.S. High School, man. That's crazy. And then that's how we got connected. I was like, yo, we from the same neighborhood. So me and Inky Biz was like partners right then and there. We was just, yo, we gonna be friends the whole time I'm here in Seattle. You know what I'm saying? Wherever. Because just bumping into him and knowing he went to A-Leaf L.S. High School too, I was like, yo, you are from the hood. Yes, my hood too. So we clicked up. And me and Raw Skills kicked up the most, we put up money, buying weed, but a year and a half later, I get a job. I started investing in weed. I was like, let me buy an ounce. Then I started actually doing really well. I left to China with my mom in 2006. And then when I came back from that visit, man, I was on that hustle mode. Like when I left, there were people waiting for me to sell weed. I built a pretty good customer, I built a pretty good amount of people. And when I left, they were still hitting me up like, yo, where you at? I'm like, yo, I was in New York fixing to go to China because that's where I had to go to. Flew to New York, kicked it there for a little bit, and then flew to China. And then came back. When I came back, I actually went to go to Miami. That's when I bumped into when I met up with my ex from Houston. Her name's Crystal. She's Filipino. And so in Seattle, back to Seattle, when I came back from China, that's when my hustle was just like, I'm about to hit them hard this time. And I invested more. My phone was blowing up more just because I was gone for a minute. People were missing me. You know what I'm saying? I had mad love. See, the thing about me as a hustler is that I was always nice to my customers, man. I always show love. I had good energy, and that's why they were always loyal and always calling me because I had my shit nice and neat. I came on time. I came fast. I drove. So it's like, yo, wherever you at, I'm going up north, south, everywhere. I'm driving everywhere to drop off. You know what I'm saying? Apes. I go if I'm downtown already. Usually I go to downtown because a lot of my jugs were downtown. Like I'll tell you one of the moves I had to do. I would park my car where I used to get a lot of tickets. Man, I park my car, come outside, hang out with the rappers, be freestyling that, and the homeboys be at. I'll meet them up. You know what I'm saying? Then I'll sell some weed. I'll be like, yo, I'm selling weed. This is in 2006. You know what I'm saying? I'm selling weed 2007, right? 2007. I'm 2006, 2007. I'm selling lots of weed downtown, and I never get caught because I'm Asian and I know how to disguise myself. Matter of fact, these cops are so racist down here. I was making a deal, and then the cops came and I just reversed, right? And I was like, oh shit, they passed me up, and they went straight to the black homies. That shit is fucked up, man. I've seen racism right before my eyes. I was like, oh shit, they skipped me. I thought they saw me because they were behind me, and I was making the move right there with the person, right? About to hand them a bag. So I put it all back in my pocket like, oh shit, and I just moved away from everybody, just like if I didn't know anybody and shit, and they passed me up straight to the black homeboys. You know what I'm saying? That shit was fucked up. But anyways, I was making moves like, yo, we're gonna, people would walk up, be like, yo, you got some weed? I'm like, yeah, I got you. And then we would walk inside the mall up to the bathroom. I had to check him. I had to make sure he wasn't the police or whatnot, but because there was a lot of police, man. I heard about this big cop, man. It's like Big something. I forgot his name, man. Big. I don't know, man. He's this cop that just punks everybody downtown. And everybody knew me as K. Lee, man. Like, I was getting so much love and I was making so much money because I just had that hustle mentality. But all it took was one customer to mess me up. And you know what's fucked up? What happened? My dumb ass, though, I was popping pills. I was taking Xanax. So it was my fault, too. You know what I mean? I had all kind of stuff on me. I was sloppy. So that was my fault. But at the same time, it was somebody else's fault because the cops told me one night that they followed my friend to my car because he looked like a crack dealer. And it's crazy because he was from Houston too. His name was Ant. And that he usually has braids and he's wearing baggy jeans and the hip hop shirt, sweaters with the patches, the sports teams, you know what I'm saying? He was that homeboy. But he had a fro that day and it was a Sunday night, March 9th. I remember because it was the Biggie's death day. And he was walking to my car and I kind of knew not to meet him down Westlake, 4th and Pine. And that night I was just sloppy, man, and he was sloppy too. And the cops were just ready, man. They were ready to bust. It was my time, man. It eventually happened. I kind of felt like because the homeboy had just passed away, my boy Raw Skills was there from the bottom to a QP to half a pound to some fire ass Joe. I went from Nick sacks putting up to dime sacks to motherfucking half a pound of some fire, bro. From the white boys. He seen me come up, and I would always share with him. He was the homeboy. He's always on my right side. We always rapping, freestyle. We going to L.S.'s crib. You know what I'm saying? There was a time where I didn't even have a phone when I first moved there, and I would just sense that this is the time he's going to be here. And I would see him walking down the street like, yo, we right here. We ready to go meet up and roll up a blunt. The homie Billy Blaze, he would beatbox, the dopest beatboxer in Seattle that I've ever heard. Rapping and beatboxing at the same time. Ill. I'm just like, whoa. These guys are very creative. So it really stepped my game up. it helped, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm having lots of ciphers and smoking lots of weed. And in the West Coast, a lot of people are chopping. And it kind of helped build my chopping skills. So when I'm rapping a little fast, but I always loved that Bone Thugs anyways. But yeah, I hope y'all like the little story, man. All it takes is one dude to fuck up, and it's fucked up because it was done through some racism shit that the police followed him to my car and busted me with a whole bunch of shit. At the same time, it's also my fault for coming out there with a whole bunch of shit and a whole bunch of money just to meet up to sell a goddamn eighth. You know what I'm saying? It was ridiculous, man. And then guess what? They legalized marijuana in 2012, and that happened in 2007. I did a bit of time with that and some probation. So I ain't tripping though, man. I figure out new hustles. That's why I'm doing this. So shout out to everybody that's tuning into my stories, man. I hope you like it. Hope you learn a little something. That's the reason I tell my stories, because although I came to the city not knowing nobody, and then within a year and a half became the plug, I'm talking about people that lived here and born in Seattle was calling me up for weed. I'm like, how the fuck you calling me for weed and you been here and you ain't got the connect? But I got the connect. And then I got the fire too. Then I started getting the lean. It's like, yo, I'm just hustling, man. And for y'all, you gotta be safe, because a lot of bad shit happened with the lean and all that. But I won't. This has been taking too long. I won't talk about it. I'll save it for another story, because the reason why they shut down activists is because it kept some cats in Seattle. I guarantee you, the reason why they stopped selling activists is because of these two kids in Seattle that was robbing all the pharmacies for only cough syrup. And I was there because I was my pharmacist told me. So anyways, y'all got to tune in for the next one for that. I hope y'all like my first visit to Seattle. I became a Muslim in Seattle. I learned a lot being in Seattle. I show love to everybody that's around me, but not everybody knows how to show love back. You can't find Southern hospitality in the Northwest, definitely. So peace out, y'all. If I forgot anything, you know what I'm saying, you got a question, leave a comment below. Much love.